In response to the same question about what I think people can do, granted, I'm 24 years old and I don't really know exactly what people can do to fix anything, but I believe very strongly that if people just work harder at being better people and analyze themselves and make sure that the things we're saying, we're not doing the exact opposite, or that we're not guilty of the things that we preach against, and to be critical of ourselves and our societies, and to participate in our communities in a healthy way, and to reduce your environmental impact on the planet and reduce the amount of money you spend, especially on oil. That would be a big one. I mean, just make yourself a better person, and that's all that you can really do. I mean, you can participate in all of the different campaigns and march, and those things definitely help. But I mean, you're not helping the species or humanity if you're not like self-checking yourself. And I'm just still really weirded out by that question about profit. If I'd come here with a guitar to like be a rock star and walked away with $10,000, like nobody would criticize me for it. But I've been traveling for the last 7 months out of a rucksack, not asking money from anybody, and doing this all just because this is what I love to do and this is what I have a shot at. And I've never ever been called out about that before, and I'm just like super, super appalled. I don't even...
About the intelligence gathering, I wanted to say, because it's good to mention about how those concentration camps will not bring any viable or any intelligence which is worthwhile. The example of Ali al-Fahi, Sheikh al-Libi, is a good example of that. He was tortured so badly and then taken to Egypt and forced to say things that weren't true about the Qaeda relationship with Saddam Hussein. And Bush relied on these allegations, on these things that he confessed to under torture in Egypt. And he carried people to war in Iraq because of someone relying heavily on those confessions, which when he went back to Bagram, to the United States administration again, he said that was totally untrue. And the Americans, Bush at the time, recognized that was untrue. But still, the war continues in Iraq, and the results of it, everyone can see, you know, the deaths of civilians and children and women. Not Saddam Hussein, the dictator, which is gone, but rather people who were affected are women and children there. Even us, when we were dragged to Guantanamo Bay, we were first dragged in Pakistan, tortured in Pakistan, in Islamabad, then Lahore, for another month. And then the intelligence gathering is really stupid. The first thing we were asked when we came to Guantanamo Bay is, where is Osama bin Laden? As if Osama bin Laden is sitting down in internet cafes or something like that. What do you expect? What kind of gathering, what kind of intelligence gathering would you expect to get after 7 years? 7 years. People who are there now in Guantanamo Bay have been in prison for 7 years. What kind of intelligence where is about Osama bin Laden after 7 years? Even if he was in a certain place, he would have been moved by now.
Are you ashamed of what your government does? Are you ashamed of to Chris?
Yeah.
Is he ashamed of United States government action, and does he condemn it?
I'm not really ashamed of them because I see our government as kind of an occupying force of a good piece of land with a lot of good people on it, and I'm not really of my government per se. I'm kind of done with them. So, I mean, no, I'm ashamed of what they're doing. So yes, I guess, but not ashamed of myself for them.
You condemn their action.
Yeah, definitely. That's why
I just want to say in defense of Chris, but this does not mean he's a traitor to his country, because there are many people, even in the States, who are against those torture camps and spoke against them. Lawyers, there's CCR, there are many people who wrote books and so on. There are many people that he's not like feeling himself standing against his country or something, but he is against the government who took place at the time and did what it did to many, many people in Gaza, in our concentration camp, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, many, many places around the world. They spent more than 3 trillion. I was last year, 2 years ago, I heard about this when I was in prison. We heard from a lawyer, an American lawyer. All the American lawyers were allowed to come into those prisons. They were vetted. And he said to us that the spending on Iraqi war came up to 3 trillion. I was shocked. First thing, my reaction was asking people in the camp, what was trillion? Because I never heard of the number trillion before. I heard billions, millions. I didn't know that trillion existed. This is the amount of money they spend on the war. So, yeah, I think people who must be ashamed is the people who did these acts. They should be ashamed of themselves.
I think it's important to recognize where we are at right now. That if what Chris is saying is traitorous, then the greatest traitor surely must be Obama, because he's called for he's now going to close Guantanamo Bay, and said that the secret detention camps should be closed also. So this is a nation now finally coming to terms with the world's most notorious prison.
Thank you, and I'd like you to show your appreciation to our panel, and just a big round of applause.